Finally, I'd like to introduce to you our stewardship speaker today, which is Simpson Hui.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Simpson Hui. I've been blessed to be able to worship here and count Holy Trinity as my home church for about the last 10 years. And I am the incoming rector's warden. As the incoming warden, I'd like to thank Oscar Gunther, who's the outgoing warden, for all his work these years and all the support as I get started. So kind of under that theme of getting started, Pastor Rachel talked about Advent, and in her sermon last week, she talked about how this is really the start of a new church year. And as the start of a new year, your vestry has been focused really on the planning and budgeting from that. If you guys looked at the e-news, and if you haven't, just take a quick glance at the end of the service, what we're budgeting is about $250,000 from pledging. And then we supplement that from our endowment, which is really the gifts of and the pledges from the generations past that came to call this their home church as well. So that planning is kind of critical because that is what we use to plan for the big projects, like the roof project, which just recently kicked off, as well as for the different programs. So Rachel just talked about the chorister program and all the different things going on. Kind of a sidebar, if you guys noticed, this week we actually had the child-led service again. And that one holds a really special place in my heart because my son was one of the kids that wanted to come here because of that child-led service. And if you were here 2 weeks ago, you saw him also leading as the crucifer. So just watching him grow and participate in different programs on his church has been really crazy. When we didn't do the child-led service, he was the kid in the back playing with the Legos, in case you remember him. But now he's like 5'7" and very noticeable. But Legos is a good analogy for this, right? Because, what he did at home was he kind of followed the instructions and built what was in the picture. But then when at the church in the back, he'd be doing the more creative things. And that's kind of like what we do here, right? There's certain things we have instructions for, like the roof project I just mentioned. Like it says, every 30 years, you have to kind of spend X amount and make sure that roof stays intact. And we preserve this beautiful building. But then there's also other things with the Legos where you can create something. And if we learned anything from these last 2 years of COVID and living in this world, is that things are going to change. And we have to take our Lego pieces and build something new to meet where we're going to be. And that's really a big part of this planning as well. So it's some of that is like the digital equipment we're purchasing to make the streaming services, and hi to my wife and my son who are watching online and making sure I don't embarrass them on this, that they have a high quality worship experience. Not to replace this, but to really enhance this and help and reach out to more people within our community. So right now what we need to know how many Lego blocks we have and what kind of blocks we have so we can plan appropriately for this coming year. So when we look at it, each of us is a block here in Rittenhouse Square. You guys have probably heard the cliche and the example of the church is not the building, the church is its people, and each of us are those blocks. So what I'm really saying is thank you for you guys who have been part of the blocks for all these years past. Thanks for all those who have pledged last year and every year and many years. Thanks for those guys who have already pledged for this year, and some of them haven't been here that long, actually. So what we're asking for is that right now you prayerfully consider your pledge. And that pledge is really the dollars for these projects, but also the time and the talent. When my family and I meet for our talking, we think about what we can afford, both in terms of our bank accounts as well as our very busy schedules. And when we have that, we can figure out what we're going to do moving forward to really advance Christ's mission in Rittenhouse Square. In terms of timing, please pledge at least the financial piece by December 18th so we can do that work. And then if you want to pledge your time and your talent, reach out to any of the vestry members or on the back of the bulletin, or talk to Pastor John, Pastor Rachel about how you want to help and contribute. And if you look at the back of your bulletin, if you like to go old school, please feel free to just tear this page out, put in your pledge, and put this in the offering. But just thank you for everybody to hear this quick comment, and thank you in advance for prayerfully considering your pledge of time and talent, as well as financially.